you go. From the station that's on your side, this is News 12, First at 5.
Stuff started flying, busting through the walls, the basement, the doors. It was just chaos.
Alabama reeling from severe weather. 2 tornadoes hitting Chilton County yesterday. This man says his sons had to form a human chain just to pull his sister inside. A tornado in Tuscaloosa caught on camera. Take a look at the way it carries all that debris. We'll show you the extent of storms all across the southeast. Close to home, we're looking at a much calmer day. Thank goodness, really, we were fortunate not to see storms like these. Yesterday and really throughout the morning and early afternoon, we were preparing for severe weather threats, including the chance of strong tornadoes, widespread wind damage. And Riley, what can we expect now? I think all of us are breathing this collective sigh of relief.
For sure, Meredith. We're in the clear. Nothing really expected for us the rest of this evening and tonight. No threat for severe weather currently for the CSRA. You may see it on the bottom ticker that Saluda County is currently underneath a tornado watch. That threat does appear to be over for Saluda County. So we're not tracking any storms currently in the CSRA. That severe weather threat is staying closer towards the coast, and then actually between Charlotte and Greensboro, North Carolina, they're dealing with a few tornado warnings north of us. Here's a look at the reports from this afternoon. We had a funnel cloud reported near Fort Stewart, and then in Pierce, Georgia, there was a confirmed tornado on the ground. So it basically just split the CSRA, and luckily we did not see any damage or anything in the way of severe weather. A closer look at our radar just showing dry conditions. It is very breezy this afternoon. We saw wind advisories in effect for most of the western CSRA until 8 p.m. this evening. Some of these gusts are getting close to 35 miles an hour, so it's definitely still some breezy conditions out there. But looking over Grovetown, you can see our camera shaking. That is thanks to the wind. A few breaks in the clouds, which has helped us warm up into the low 80s currently. We'll take a look at some much cooler temperatures the next few days in just a little bit.
All right, thank you, Riley. Tornadoes touching down in the Deep South yesterday, flattening homes, ripping communities apart. Behind me, you can see the damage in Clanton, Alabama. As Dan Shinman reports, families are now working to clean up and rebuild.
Cleanup beginning in Billingsley, Alabama.
I thought none of us survived.
Lifelong resident Tommy Cox brought out the storm with 11 other family members in a basement.
Grandbabies, great-grandbabies were screaming, crying. It was stuff flying around. It was chaos.
Leveling the close-knit family's homes.
Everything he'd got just destroyed and scattered across a mile of woods.
A community torn apart.
That's it, man.
By one of the dozens of devastating tornadoes spun up late Wednesday. Alabama and Mississippi taking the first punch as the system raked across the Deep South, bringing lightning, rain, wind, and spawning funnel clouds. Homes leveled, communities left in the dark, and debris scattered for miles. That system now marching across the southeast, setting the stage for a potential second wave of dangerous weather.
We have the right ingredients for a spin to the atmosphere, and that's why we're going to be looking ahead for a chance for some supercells. Those are rotating thunderstorms. So this is just the beginning. Stay weather aware. Stay safe, everyone.
Forecasters warning the threat is far from over. Dan Shinman, NBC News.
At least 24 preliminary reports of tornadoes were tracked yesterday across 5 states. Pretty overwhelming. Moving on now, the man accused of killing 8 people at Atlanta massage parlors will not appear in court today. 21-year-old Robert Aaron Long was scheduled for a hearing in Cherokee County. His attorney requested that hearing be canceled, but did not give a reason he made that request. Long faces 8 counts of murder and 1 count of aggravated assault. The hearing has not been rescheduled yet. Today, Georgia lawmakers and community leaders are speaking about hate crimes against Asian Americans, calling on fellow lawmakers to take the issue up of gun violence.
Violence against women is not new. The epidemic of gun violence and gun injury is not new. What can be new is how we deal with it in this moment. And I want to implore our community and our fellow legislators to not let this moment go by.
First at 5, just into our newsroom, a 1-year-old girl kidnapped in DeKalb County. safe and sound after being missing for 13 hours. The good news here, police found and arrested a 14-year-old wanted in connection with the kidnapping. Yes, you heard that right, a 14-year-old. Police say Royalty Grisby was sleeping in the backseat of her mother's car when she stepped out to make a food delivery at 2 in the morning. Police say 14-year-old Malachi Richardson stole that car. Today, he was taken into custody around 1:30. Then about 2 hours later, police reported the 1-year-old had been found after being dropped off on someone's porch. For hours, Royalty's mom pleaded with the suspect to bring back her baby.
You take her to the hospital, you can take her anywhere, take her to the store, just bring her home. She didn't do anything. She was just asleep in the back seat.
Authorities found the vehicle in a neighborhood nearby from where it was stolen. Police said the license plate had been changed and the child's car seat was not inside. They do not believe the suspect knew the child was in that vehicle. Jury selection continues today in the trial of former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin. Chauvin faces charges in the death of George Floyd. The judge in that case says a decision will be made tomorrow on whether or not evidence from George Floyd's arrest will be allowed in court. The judge says he will also decide tomorrow on the defense's motions to delay the trial and move it out of Minneapolis. The defense asked to change the venue after the announcement of the city's $27 million settlement with the family of George Floyd. President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris are coming to Atlanta tomorrow. Originally, they had planned to talk about COVID relief, but now we're told they will meet with Asian American leaders to talk about attacks and threats against the community. They're postponing the event celebrating their COVID relief bill, but they are still set to visit the CDC to get an update on the pandemic. Aiken Regional releasing new details on their vaccine progress. The hospital is partnering with USC Aiken to bring 9 vaccine clinics to the community. The clinics will be both open to everyone eligible in phase 1A and 1B. The first clinic opens next Wednesday at UCA's Student Activity Center. Officials say they're ready to vaccinate more than 1,200 people. To register, visit aikenregional.com. As more and more adults become eligible to get the COVID vaccine, the focus now turns to children. As it stands, kids 15 and younger cannot get the vaccine because there hasn't been any research on how it might affect them. But as Brady Trapnell reports, that could be changing soon.
Moderna's vaccine trials are happening in hospitals as close as Charleston. But is the vaccine safe or even effective? Pediatric experts at the Children's Hospital of Georgia say that answer isn't clear yet. They say the likely answer is the vaccine will be safe and cause mild side effects for children, just like most COVID-19 cases in children. Moderna's clinical trial plans to test nearly 7,000 kids from the ages of 6 months to 11 years old. Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson are also studying their vaccines on children, with full results coming in about 6 months. Dr. James Wild, pediatric emergency department doctor at AU, says parents should consider allowing their kids to get it like a flu shot.
Primary benefit of getting the kids vaccinated is so that the COVID virus can't be transmitted from them to more vulnerable people. You can't get herd immunity if you have 85 million kids unvaccinated.
AU Health says they won't be participating in any vaccine trials related to children, but coming up on News 12 at 6 o'clock, you'll hear from a parent who's still undecided if the vaccine is the right thing for her kids. Reporting in Augusta, Brady Troutnell on your side.
Thanks for that, Brady. A lot of parents still weighing that decision. 2 Florida pediatricians are publishing a preprint of the first baby in the world believed to be born with COVID antibodies. They say a pregnant woman received a single dose of the Moderna COVID-19 vaccine. 3 weeks later, she gave birth to a healthy baby girl. Doctors say she had antibodies against COVID. These doctors say this is an expected result. They hope it leads to further studies of maternal COVID vaccination to protect babies as well.
Really cool, great scientific opportunity, and we knew that we were going to be potentially one of the first in the world to report it, and that type of opportunity probably only comes once in a career.
Right now, they say they're in the final phase to get formal publication, but it is important to note this study hasn't been published in a medical journal or been peer-reviewed just yet. Health officials say the benefits of the AstraZeneca vaccine outweigh the risks. The World Health Organization recommends that vaccinations continue. More than a dozen European countries suspended the use of the vaccine this week over concerns. Officials there were investigating reports of blood clots in a few dozen people, but that's out of the millions who received it. Today, the EU's Drug Regulatory Agency announced the AstraZeneca vaccine does not increase the overall incidence of blood clots. The WHO is still carefully, though, looking into the safety of that vaccine. The Shepherd Community Blood Center is still in need of donors. If you would like to give blood, you do have the chance tomorrow. They had to postpone the drive happening at the Burke County Sheriff's Office to tomorrow. It is now happening from 11:30 to 6:30. They are in need of all blood types, especially O negative, O positive, and B positive. The model of SUV Tiger Woods drives is the newest vehicle to earn a Top Safety Pick Plus award. That is a designation by the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety. To qualify, cars must earn good ratings in 6 different crash worthiness tests. And the Genesis GV80, which Woods was driving in his serious car crash last month, meets all the requirements. Adding an artistic flair to Augusta. We'll introduce you to the artist behind some of these pieces when we get back. Riley?
Staying dry and breezy for the rest of this evening and to tonight, but temperatures dropping the next few days. Have a look at the full forecast next.
Unemployment, PPP loans, and stimulus checks creating new hurdles for millions of filers.
It's a very serious situation for a lot of families.
Our I-team takes the uncertainty out of this tax season tonight on News 12 at 6 o'clock.
Riley, we had all the ingredients for some pretty nasty weather today, and I think all of us are very happy that nothing really came of it. We appreciate the warning, but I'm telling you, I am very excited that we're not reporting damage right now.
100%, Mayor. I'll never be upset that we get sunshine instead of deadly storms, and luckily we did dodge that severe weather threat out there today. We are still pretty breezy, though. We do have some wind advisories in effect across our western counties, stretching all the way through Wilkes County into Emmanuel County, and then most of western and northern Georgia. Our wind speeds are currently around 20 miles an hour sustained, but some gusts are getting close to 35, and these wind advisories will stay in effect through this evening up until around 8 p.m. later tonight. Now, here's a look at our current winds, anywhere from around 15 to 20 miles an hour across most of the viewing area, and these winds have been breezy enough that actually did bring down a power pole in southern Richmond County. We are expected to stay pretty breezy through this evening and to tonight. Those winds will most likely stay between 10 to 15 past midnight. As we head into our Friday, we're expecting them not to be calm by any means, but they will be turning out the northeast, and that's going to bring in some much cooler air for us. So Friday and Saturday, those temperatures will be dropping back below average. Heading into Saturday, we're expecting breezy northeast winds to just be sticking around for us. Should stay between 10 to 15 throughout the day on Saturday. So just a heads up for that if maybe you want to head up to the lake. It may be a little bit choppy out there. But with that wind, I did mention that we did have one power pole actually snap from those breezy, gusty winds. This is just off Boykin Road in southern Richmond County, close to Hephzibah. The Augusta Fire Department did report this, and they sent a picture out on their social media as well. Here's a closer look at radar. We had some severe storms now moving towards our north, and then closer towards the coast, they've been dealing with some very strong storms. So we were spared, basically just split to our north and to our south, and luckily we did not see anything in the way of severe weather out there today. But this is where our breezy conditions are coming into play thanks to this cold front. This is what's going to be swinging through tonight, and on the backside of that front is where we're going to see those temperatures be much cooler for us. We're up to 81 degrees so far here in Augusta, and those southwest winds are staying steady as those turn out of the west, and then finally out of the north by tomorrow. That cooler air will be found heading into your Friday. Our current temperatures ranging anywhere from the upper 70s to low 80s. A fairly warm afternoon, and thankfully those are the ingredients you need for storms, and luckily it just did not happen for us today. Tonight we're expecting low temperatures to get close to 50 by early Friday morning. Heading into tomorrow afternoon, those high temperatures below average, but not too bad. We should stay in the mid-60s tomorrow afternoon. But take a look at Saturday. Saturday, for the first official day of spring, we're expected to generally stay in the mid-50s thanks to what we call wedge conditions. So high pressure towards our north, bringing us those northeast winds, keeping us cool through the weekend. But heading into next week, we do see the 70s once again.
All right, thank you, Riley. The one-year anniversary of the fatal EF3 tornado in Orangeburg County is approaching. The April storm killed 2 people and injured several others. 1 year later, the damage and heartbreak is still visible in Nices. It is a day people who live there say they will never forget.
You start going into the community and you start looking for people that are missing. And you know that you've got people who have passed away from the event, and you know that you've got people with traumatic injuries that are being treated at hospitals because of the event. You grasp real quick the scale of it.
The County Emergency Services Department is preparing in case history repeats itself. They are readying vehicles, making sure manpower is where it needs to be, and of course, getting the word out. If you've been downtown lately, you might have noticed some colorful new additions. Murals like these adding a little more positivity and fun to the Augusta area. Brianna Collier talked to the man behind some of them about how it all started and what inspired him.
Leonard Zimmerman, or as many call him, Pork Chop, has been painting murals in downtown Augusta for years.
It started out just a way to get people to smile at each other a little bit more.
As a graphic designer by trade, not only does he display his artwork on his body, but Zimmerman says sharing his artwork with the community is something that is near and dear to his heart.
I love my hometown.
And his passion for art has brought more than just smiles to downtown.
I know that areas that have more art and stuff visible, people come and see that, and it makes those areas feel more alive. And so I want downtown to be as full of life as it can be, because this is my home.
Bringing more life to different areas around the city. His most recent piece can be found on Broad and 11th Street. Monkey Business is what he calls it.
The monkey business monkeys were based off these, and one Christmas I did Barrel of Monkey Robots, Sock Monkey Monkeys.
2 more on Ellis Street, which were inspired by James Brown lyrics.
The reason I have those murals on Ellis Street is because that always just seemed like a blank canvas.
And another on Broad Street that shows a robot swinging from the moon.
Now this is breaking down. Should the robot be an astronaut? Well, that didn't make sense because he's a robot. He doesn't breathe anyway. And then the moon, I figured it should have a face. Originally it had no face, but I figured it should be looking down since the robot's swinging on it. They should be paying attention to each other.
Using his sketchbook to help bring his ideas to life.
It just seemed like a positive image to put there, and something that can inspire kids or in the future.
So next time you're downtown, take some extra time to enjoy the view and smile a little more.
They certainly look great. He never had to come out of pocket for any of these pieces. A few of them were funded through a Porter Fleming grant. His most recent monkey business piece, that was funded through Wrdw. Zimmerman also said he's planning on doing another one in a week or two for Women's History Month, so we'll keep an eye out for that one. All right, we get warned about computer hacks all the time, right? But some are good. Coming up, some life tech hacks you should start using right away.
Call Ken. That's 1-800-CALL-KEN.
It's game on at Milton Ruben Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram during
When you hear the words computer hacks, bad things come to mind, right? Things like identity theft, privacy, and maybe even stolen passwords. But all computer hacks aren't bad. Some actually make your life easier. Jamie Tucker shows us a few tech life hacks.
And we would all love to see our kids read more, other than captions on Snapchat or Instagram comments, maybe a story or a book. Well, here's something you can try. Find a movie they want to watch on Netflix and then turn on closed captioning and then turn down the volume, maybe even mute it. If they want to find out what happens in the movie, they'll have to read. Are you always visiting the same websites on your smartphone? You can create an app for it. Take like 2 seconds. First, you call up the website, then look for the share button. It's going to be in different places depending on the browser you use. Then down at the bottom, you're going to see a lot of options. Choose Add to Home Screen. It will create, for all intents and purposes, an app right there on your home screen with all the others. And by the way, if Facebook is taking up a lot of storage space and using a lot of data, you can do the very same thing. Just go to facebook.com, create an app for your home screen, and then you can delete the actual Facebook app. If you're using the calculator app and in the middle of a long equation, well, you know how frustrating it is to enter one wrong number. Well, instead of trying to remember what that AC delete key means, just swipe across the numbers to delete them one at a time. You won't lose your work. If you're listening to YouTube, it's not very easy turning the volume up and down by tapping on that slider. So just click on it, and you can control volume with the center wheel of the mouse. Call them hacks, call them shortcuts, whatever you call them, they do make things a lot easier. That's What the Tech. I'm Jamie Tucker.
Love it. He always knows how to help us out. All right, a heads up for love it. He always knows how to help us out. All right, a heads up for a couple of showtime changes because of March Madness. Tomorrow and Monday, Wheel of Fortune will air at 10 a.m. Jeopardy will air at 10:30. The shows will air at their normal time starting Tuesday. You can watch both right here on CBS News 12. Riley.
We drive the next few days and just a little bit cooler. Those temperatures should stay below average through the weekend. Another look at that 7-day forecast next.
Final
Weekends 24/7. Take a look at your community calendar. We have Rec Tech Movie Night in Evans tomorrow. They're going to be playing Finding Nemo. It's only $10 per parking spot. The gates will open at 6 and the movie starts at 7:30. That's at 4301 Evans to Lock Road. Should be a great time out there. Just may want to bring that jacket, and it will be a little bit breezy. Here's a current look at our situation. The cold front's going to be moving through. The severe weather threat is mainly across North Carolina into portions of southern Virginia currently. You can see a number of active tornado warnings and a few severe thunderstorm warnings. Luckily, this did stay away from us. A closer look at our radar. We do have those storms moving north of Columbia. We are expecting to stay dry the rest of this evening and tonight. It will be getting cooler, though, and staying breezy at least through Saturday for us. High temperatures generally in the mid-50s for your Saturday afternoon, and that will be the first day of spring for us. So even though we're close to 80 this afternoon, looking much cooler through the weekend, we should be able to see the 70s again, though, as we head later into next week.
All right, thank you, Riley. Still to come, we're following a hearing in Congress on the violence against Asian Americans. This comes after the shooting rampage in Atlanta that took the lives of 8 people, 6 of them Asian American. The news continues here in less than 3 minutes.
News 12, 20.